So the hell that they created for everybody else produced the heaven for them. Then they happen to get big, they happen to manifest destiny, all of their policies. Pretty soon America is in shape. And them wars they have in Europe are over there. 3,000 miles away going that way, and 6 and 7 and 10,000 miles away going over the other way. They over there. Nothing happens to America. When Franklin Roosevelt said America is the arsenal of democracy, that meant they're not bombing our factories. We can produce. Man, America started cranking it out. And them vast plains on the prairie, man, Kansas and Nebraska, they could grow so much food, they was almost feeding the world, man. It's World War I and World War II. By the end of World War II, America's running the whole show. Of course, we helped in both ones. World War I probably more than World War II, and the Civil War and all that, we was there. But we never got any benefit from it. Okay? So this is our knowledge. We know this is a reality. But when you start dealing with things like the wrath of Allah, forgiveness and all of that, you recognize forgiveness don't mean, oh, I just float away on a heavenly cloud. Forgiveness means, did you know the people or that person or whatever have offended you, to the ultimate level, but you forgive them. You forgive them because revenge and all that does as much harm to the people with bitterness and jealousy and envy and suspicion as it does anybody. So, okay. So now here we are in America. We're at the end of Act 1. The curtain goes down and it rises up on number one, the height of challenges. This is what we want. In the meantime, people are beginning to tear down statues and do other stuff that, number one, if they have a statue of Robert E. Lee, right? Well, at the end of the park down there, we put up a statue of Malcolm X. And on the plaque, it says Robert E. Lee fought for the Confederacy, the big general. If they got Jeb Stuart High School over there in Virginia, they want to change the name. Jeb Stuart was a big Confederate general right over there in Virginia, Northern Virginia. The Army of Northern Virginia. He was right under Robert E. Lee. Him and Stonewall Jackson, they was pretty generalized, they was, okay. If we hate that people wrote us out of history, and one of the first things we wanted was black history, right? Then how could we deny white folks their history? They don't like black history. We built the pyramids, we did this. And white folks don't want to hear that, right? If they have a right to their history, and anybody that knows the South, when I grew up, and even the generation after me, said they're in their 50s now and all of that, from those people on back, when they talk about the Civil War, it's like my great-granddad, when they talk about Manassas, the Battle of Manassas, right out there in Manassas, Bull Run, they call it in history. Bull Run 1, Bull Run 2. In fact, the first battle was Bull Run. Fort Sumter, of course, but Bull Run was big. The people here in Washington, D.C. was out there in carriages picnicking out there by Bull Run. They just rolled out for a Sunday ride, and they all of a sudden the whole thing goes up. But if white folks want to write about their history, they remember that. It's passed down to them. Okay. And they remember it's different than, you can't find nobody that's up in Vermont that they can recite Civil War history like that. It's just not something done in the West and in the North. The people have forgot about it. But down there, they ain't forgot about it. Okay, that's their culture. That's their history. As we evolve, like we say, you got a statue of so-and-so, put a plaque on that. This is what he did. Malcolm X, we got Malcolm X, we got Martin Luther King, we got all these people. We make a plaque on the other side of the park and we tell this is what they did, right? Because why would we do the same thing to them? 2 generations, won't nobody know who Robert E. Lee is, even in the South. Because it won't be nothing named Lee, it won't be nothing, right? Okay. I drive through southern cities and I see Martin Luther King Boulevard, even a couple of little streets, Malcolm X, you know what I mean? All right. So in time, we're going to catch up with them on monuments. Do you know the Civil War had 671,000 people die? The most deadly war in American history. By leaps and bounds. It was unbelievable. What if don't nobody in the generation know about that? That this war, Civil War, killed more people than all the other wars combined, +2. There ain't nobody, you put them all together, hey, you can't touch this thing here. Therefore, I believe it should be remembered. And if we got a right to put up Black history statues, then they can put up white statues. They can put up them people. I mean, technically, it wouldn't be fair. And the other thing, too, is something Mandela did. Do you remember there was this movie, Victus? Nelson Mandela, the rugby team in 1995, Nelson Mandela got to push in the rugby team that won the World Cup in 1995. And all of South Africa was with him. But before, the Springboks, no South Africans, since they were all Boers and white folks, when those people played, the Africans always was for the other team. Whatever, if they was playing Britain, and the people would be cheering. If something happened, the people from Africa would be cheering the white folks from another, whatever their team was. They was never for Springboks. So Mandela became, when he became president, they was going to vote the Springboks out. We were taking away their colors, they don't exist. Nelson Mandela told him no, he said, that's all they have. If you take the stuff, you know what I mean? If you take the little stuff they holding on to. So he said, so he got it to where he got the whole country behind the Springboks. That helped neutralize the white folks who still at that time, 95, they won the election in 94, so they still got the police. They still, to this day, own most of the land in South Africa, right? They definitely got most of the money, right? So you can either fight them and slaughter them, because they're going to make you slaughter them, or you can find a way to ease into cooperation, like that type of thing. That's what he did over there. We have to do more here. The point I'm making is that in Act 2, tearing down the statues and all of that, maybe one or two of them, Andy Jackson down there. He's a pretty mean fella. You know, if there wasn't no read the Trail of Tears and all that, yeah, just move him or something. You know, put him out in the woods and let stuff grow all around him. You know what I mean? And then that the people have to hack their way to find out, oh, this Andy Jackson, he's a Trail of Tears man. He had niggas slave, black slaves, and he was, out of all the presidents, that boy he was pretty brutal. There was plenty of other slave-owning presidents, but this boy was just mean. He was mean. Okay. He wasn't mean just to Americans. He mean to white folks too. He hung a British general, that man down in Florida, old Andy. He wasn't that nice of a fella. So, but all the other people, they're part of the American experience. They're part of the American, you can't change that story. They already changed it too much already. Suppose we're going to change that story and make it more realistic. That's okay. But don't rewrite the history. If you rewrite the history, no, history is something that you keep to study. A real or close to accurate description of what happened, right? So now, this is part of the act. This is part of Act 2. Make them ask for things that are useless and unreasonable. If you give it to them, it ain't nothing. All of a sudden, all the big teams and all, they want to get rid of Aunt Jemima. Now, I'm not, you see the certain stuff we use. I don't support that. And Uncle Ben's never did nothing to nobody. And just to show them for what that's just white folks selling a Negro face. That ain't that, you know what I mean? They ain't got actually, well, they do have, now most of them Latinos, but they ain't got nobody in the thing cooking. When I come up, most black people were maids and stuff like that. That's what we did. That's what my mama did. That's what everybody I knew, that's what they did. They worked in white folks' houses or on the white folks' farm. Okay? So therefore, they're going to get rid of Aunt Jemima. They're going to get rid of Uncle Ben's. Whatever, they got 3, 4 more things that that ain't nothing. In fact, they're going to have an underground movement of niggas buying up all the Aunt Jemima syrup. You know, they're going to make Aunt Jemima stuff like dope. You know what I mean? Where you used to buy them gallons down there for $10, now they're going to be $20. And the syrup people is the one, the regular syrup, putting it, and they just put a label on there, bootleg. You know what I mean? They're going to triple it, quadruple the price. And niggas gonna be buying, because black people, all like, but it's useless. It don't do nothing. You see what I mean? It don't change nothing. Okay, so let me speed it up. Yesterday, when I came into the house, I heard something on the radio. Everybody was shouting Allahu Akbar and everything, and they kept talking about the Islamic Center of Southern California. Now on the internet, they were the only people that issued a real statement. The USCMO, whoever they was, they had some statements, or they had suggested khutbahs from way back last month, you know what I mean, to make. And then Southern California, the Muslims of Southern California, they issued a real statement of solidarity with the marchers. And yesterday, I heard them, and I know that they weren't since we didn't always say that Muslims wasn't showing up, when I got to my house, somebody had told the people in the house, because there's a tradition. When they want me to hear something, they come, they turn the radio up and they turn to that channel, or they do something, or they leave a little slip of paper, so when I walk in, I can hear Allahu Akbar, and they're giving lectures, we support this, that, and the other. I don't know whether it was WPFW, I don't know, but that was Muslims, and they kept mentioning, each speaker would say, the Islamic Center of Southern California, which I know very well. So that was, they wanted me to know that some of the Muslims are, they're participating now. It's a little late, better late than never. You know what I mean? Better late than never. I mean, and remember, our policy has always been, we don't care who say it. In fact, if we want people to say something, we'll say it and say it and say it, and we could almost go home and go to sleep. They're going to say it. The people they want to say it is going to say it. Right? We don't need the credit. We just want that issue. And that's what strategic management under conditions of repression is. Strategic management under conditions of repression means you're isolated. You're totally cut off from everything. So how are you going to get your message out? You're going to put your message over here, over there. They're going to pick it up, and they're going to put your message out, and they're going to make sure you don't say it. That's all they want, is to make sure you don't say it. And any credit goes to their people, their speakers. So their speakers will be progressive. We already know that. What's the important thing? Everybody knowing Imam Musa said it, or everybody hearing the message. Of course it's the message. When you study that, that's how we are where we are now. Everybody knows our message, but nobody invites us nowhere. It's okay, right? It's okay. Who cares? That's what strategic management under conditions of repression. Strategic management under conditions of repression is like the way we are right now. The way we are right now is, okay, they manage and they do little things to kind of keep me, us, our community, our As-Sabiqun, in a certain range. So, they do things, the cars out there, parked there. Day before yesterday, there was somebody out there cleaning their car and everything. When I put the food out, I went back to get dressed, maybe 12:30 or something. When I come back, the truck door is open, and the van just parked out there for the last 15 years, not that long. They're open and what have you. To let me know that they that they disagree with such and such. Now, if people are watching somebody clean their car out there and they see this door open and we're moving, there's visible people around the place. And they ain't never went in those things before. And I come back and I see the door open and this, that, and other. I don't even know if I think I went and closed the truck door and left the other doors open. It don't make no difference to me. But that means that they want to set up a certain way of thinking. I done said something to them that they didn't like. And I'm assuming that the message that I gave, that boss man, we're going I know that you refuse to surrender because we're black and this and that, you know what I mean? Psychological surrender. And that you're having psychological consternations and on and on and on and on. And somebody in there is mad at that. They get mad at that. Okay, I know what I'm saying then. I know what I'm saying now. And I'm going to measure what goes on after this. But here's the key. They feel they have managed control over what comes in, what everything that orbits around. So, strategic management under conditions of repression means, okay, that's what you do. I'm going to manage you according to what your view is of this, that, and other. Therefore, they're not going to have us flat broke on money because they know I work harder. If we get down to a flat broke, that means I'm going to stay up 24 hours a day. I'm going to be around. Because for me, that's abnormal. So they got to have me have enough money where I don't go around a whole lot and raise money. But I don't have enough to do the things that they think that I want to do. Right? So I know how they are, and I know, so when I want a vacation, I can take a vacation because they're going to make sure that I don't have a whole lot of money. Right? They're going to take care of that. You're not going to have a whole lot of money because we're managing your money. You're not going to have a whole lot of money, but at the same time, we're not going to have you broke. Right? So we're going to make sure we control and all you have to do is study how they see you, how they see the environment, right? And then you just cruise right along with it. You arrange, remember, no matter what nobody say, remember, we got them on the hook. They ain't got us on the hook. And we got to look at also the whole global world situation. Where do we fit into this? How do they see us? Hey, the things that they're doing associated with us, they have us as public enemy number 1, 0001. I mean, really number 1, right? And all the institutions show that. It ain't nobody in the world that I know of that have survived and thrived on all of this type of stuff. I just have never seen it. I'm talking about researching it for decades and researching our history. It hasn't happened.